Can everyone clap your hands twice, as fast as you can? Go. A little off beat here, but that's fine. Try a little bit faster. Go. What if the difference between epic success and total failure happened in that half a second? It took you to clap your hands twice. I'm an Olympic track and field athlete, and that half a second of separation can be the difference between winning an Olympic gold medal and walking away empty-handed, quickly forgotten. My path to the Olympic Games was flooded with hurdles, both on and off the track. Due to an injury, I actually sat out an entire 9 months before, after being told countless times that this was an impossible dream, 6 months later, I make the Olympic Games, and not just make it there, but then make it through another round and finish as an Olympic semifinalist and one of the youngest competitors in the field at 22 years old. And it's funny because when I got home from those games, the second people found out I was an Olympian, they would say, "Oh my God, that's so cool. Did you win a medal?" And I'd have to be like, "Well, no, but..." And before I had a chance to describe what an incredible pursuit this was regardless, they would say, "Oh." Now, was I a failure because I didn't win a medal? No. Did I feel like I was in that moment? Yeah. Was Walt Disney a failure when his first animation company went bankrupt? No. Did he feel like he was in that moment? Yeah. None of us set out in life to fail. And we can all agree that we learn from our failures. So why do we avoid it? Why do we let it overwhelm us? Why do we see failure as something to be ashamed of rather than celebrated? In 2005, I was at the National Junior Championships hoping to qualify for the World Junior Championships that were in Beijing later that summer. And I was standing behind my blocks, and I was so nervous. I was so nervous because I had to win this race in order to qualify. And I had family and friends in the stands. It was one of the first times I had TV cameras present at my race. And to add to all the fun, it just so happened it was a torrential downpour rainstorm. Regardless of the weather, we had to race anyways. Starter says, "On your marks." And I start getting into my blocks and thinking, I hate this sport. I'm so nervous, I'm so scared. Why do I do this? Set, bang, gun goes off. I come out of my blocks as fast as I can. My coach later tells me that because I'm so nervous, I'm instantly off my stride pattern, which means I start getting way too close to the hurdles, and we've all seen the YouTube videos. So as I get to hurdle 2, I go to drive my lead leg up, and I catch it with my shin, and I start the most spectacular slip and slide you've ever seen. I face plant to the floor, I slip and slide across the track, I tear my number off my jersey, I track run down my legs, and the whole field runs by me. I'm laying on the track, soaking wet, face pressed against the floor, my body's in shock, and in that moment, I felt that I had failed. Now, do I think that epic fall is the reason I stand before you today as an Olympian? No. Did I learn something that day? You bet I did. But it's not the failures themselves that allow us to achieve success, that make us stronger, better, or smarter. But failure triggers us to reflect and become inspired. And so it's important that we embrace failure because it will cause reflection and inspiration that will lead to evolution towards success. So before I was a 4-time national champion, a Pan American silver medalist, or an Olympian, before I was any of those, I was a multi-time failure. I actually haven't told very many people this story, but my very first race of track and field ever, it was an indoor 800-meter race. And I actually didn't finish. I didn't finish because I was so focused on all the other runners around me and where I needed to be at the end that I actually miscounted the number of laps that we had done. And so when I finish what I think is the last lap, I step off the track in first place and I'm feeling kind of fly, big grin on my face, waiting for the words of congratulations and praise that I'm expecting. And then the group of girls keep running by me. And I never even considered jumping back on the track to finish the race. And so instead I would receive D, N, F next to my name. Did not finish. Hashtag fail. And much like me in that race, in life we go out so hard. And we're so focused on the end result and where we need to be at that point that if we don't get it, that we decide that we don't have the time or the energy to reflect on where things went wrong. So we step off the track. But reflection is so important. It will teach us where things went wrong. It will prevent us from making those mistakes again in the future. But it's so crazy how in the fast-paced world that we live in, reflection is the first thing to be forgotten. But we have to reflect. So between countless lost races, epic falls, multiple overuse injuries, I wasn't always Sarah Wells the Olympian. And even after I was, it didn't give me a pass to this failure-free life from that point forward. Because I had reached the pinnacle of my sport. I had made the Olympic Games. I had overcome this incredible injury, and I still qualified, and I finished as an Olympic semifinalist, and I assume that I've now overcome the biggest obstacle in my career. And because I have this title, Olympian, that I'm convinced that I'll now make less athletic mistakes. And we're all at fault for this. Because once we achieve a certain level of success, we assume that failure will no longer be accepted in that area of our lives. If 1 month we crush our sales targets, and our peers acknowledge that, and our managers acknowledge that, then going forward, no target, other than one that is equal or better, will be seen as success. And if we have a goal to lose 10 pounds, and one day we take to the scale, and we see that we've lost 5 pounds, hooray! That's better than we expected. So we go away, we care about our life, come back a week later. We step on the scale again, and this time it says we're only 4 pounds lighter. And instantly, we're feeling defeated, we start questioning the whole diet, we think, I don't even like this food anyways, why am I doing this? I should just stop. But realistically, you're probably just a little bit more hydrated that day. But we don't accept the natural fluctuation that our bodies go through. And much like success, we don't accept that fluctuation as well. And success isn't linear. And success certainly does not guarantee a lack of future failure. I learned that lesson all too well just this past season in 2016. Because I had made it to the Olympic Games in 2012, I had just come off winning a Pan Am silver medalist. Everyone is expecting me to make these games. 4 years later, Sarah should be at these games. Look what she's already done. And so I feel that pressure. I feel that expectation from myself and from everyone around me. So I'm doing everything I can. I'm leaving nothing to chance. I'm working the hardest I can on the track. And so one day, about 2 months out from Olympic trials in 2016, I have a workout on a Tuesday. And I probably run the fastest I've ever run. I ran so fast. And I went to bed that night thinking, damn, I'm good. And I woke up the next morning on the Wednesday. And my hamstrings, the muscle in the back of your leg, they were incredibly tight. Of course they were. I had just gone the fastest I'd ever gone the day before. But my coach has another hard workout planned for me. And suddenly I think, well, maybe I shouldn't work out, but I need to be at these Olympic Games. I have to do everything I can. Everyone's expecting me to be there. I have to be there. I'll work out anyways. So I go to the track, start the workout. And my coach, he notices that, Sarah, you look a bit tired today. You don't really look like yourself. We're only halfway through, but why don't we shut it down here? And I said, no. Don't make me stop. I'll make you a deal. If I run the next interval slower, then I'll stop. But if I run the next interval the same or better, you have to let me keep going. He says, okay, crazy lady, no one asks for more work, go to the line. I walk to the line, I start running down the track. And I'm now putting everything into this because I have to run the same or better in order to keep going. And about 50 meters away from the finish line, if you can imagine what a Ziploc bag full of air, tightly sealed, placed into the back of your leg, feels like if someone were to stomp on it, that's what it felt like when I fell to the floor, tore my hamstring, and 4 years after I thought I had overcome the biggest hurdle, I tear my hamstring 4 years later. And I'm devastated. I only have 2 months until Olympic trials. I've put in 4 years of work, 4 years of sweat, 4 years of tears. And now in the final moments, I'm watching my dream of becoming a 2-time Olympian slip away. That night, I cry myself to sleep. I'm devastated, but I decide that there's no point in feeling sorry for myself. I have 2 months. I'm gonna rehab, I'm gonna get stronger, I'm gonna get back, I can do this. I start my rehab. I do start getting a bit stronger. I'm able to start doing a bit more running, I'm able to add a bit more speed into my program. I'm about 4 weeks into this rehab, about a month out from Olympic trials, and I'm at the track, ramping up my speed, and suddenly, I re-tear my hamstring. And I only have 1 month until Olympic trials. Again, go home, cry myself to sleep, decide there's no point in feeling sorry for myself. If anyone can do this, I'm an Olympian. I have the experience. If anyone can do this, it's me. So I rehab back, I get a bit stronger. That month of time passes. I get back to about 90%. And Olympic trials are here. And behind my blocks that day, I really was convinced I can do this. If anyone can do this, it's me. I only needed to get top 3, that's it. Gun goes off. I come out of my blocks so hard. I come into the final corner, into the final straightaway, and I wanted it so badly. I crossed the finish line in 4th place, missing qualifying by about half a second, the amount of time that it took you to clap your hands twice. And I was devastated because Sarah Wells, the Olympian, doesn't make the Olympics. And I remember when I pulled into the driveway of the house we were staying, when we left the track that day, I couldn't go into the house because it felt like 4 years of work, 4 years of sweat, 4 years of tears, and 4 years later, I come away empty-handed. So instead I just opened the car door, just kind of fell onto the driveway and laid in fetal position and just cried and cried. Because I felt like a complete failure. So no matter how many awards you win, how much money you make, how successful you are, mistakes and screw-ups, failures and rejection, they'll always be a part of the journey. And it's so funny because every single time I tell this story, it's hilarious how many more people are inspired by the time where I didn't make the games over the time where I did. And that's because more people can relate to the struggle than they can to the triumph anyways. We can all remember our lay in the driveway, in fetal position, and cry moment. But where I think people draw the most inspiration from is the fact that they can see that I'm no longer defeated. I no longer feel like a failure. They can see that, yes, I missed my goal. But that makes me no less of a person than I was before. And when you fail, your good friends will still be your good friends. Your family will still be your family. And the number of days in the week will still be 7. And so rather than spending those 7 days feeling sorry for yourself, feeling defeated, why not spend those 7 days finding inspiration from those failures? Because none of us have it all figured out. I reached the pinnacle of my sport, and I still didn't qualify. But that failure, that complete feeling of ultimate defeat, it lit a fire in me. Because I've now committed to training for the 2020 Olympics. and I'm more motivated and more inspired than I've ever been. So what if we all saw our failures as part of the journey? What if we all saw our failures as an opportunity to become inspired? What would our conversations be like? How would the aspirations of our children change? What would we think? How would our perception of failure change? Because all these failures, small, medium, large, all of them, are important for this process of evolution towards success. Because do you guys remember that moment that I described at the beginning of this talk, where I had fallen onto my face that rainy day in 2005, face planted on the floor, feeling like an absolute failure? Well, I got back up. I got back up, and slowly but surely, I started to gain on the competition. Coming into the final corner, into the final straightaway, every ounce of me was flooded with lactic acid. Every muscle fiber was screaming at me to just stop, just give up. But I came over hurdle 10, I charged to the finish line, I leaned, I looked up at the scoreboard, and I won the race. And so when you're running the race of your life, feeling like you've failed, facing your hurdles, what if you just got back up? What if you chose to get back up? What if you chose to look at your failures as opportunities to become inspired? If you don't get that promotion, get back up. If you don't book that client, get back up. Your relationship ends, get back up. Reflect, become inspired, and evolve. And that all begins when you simply get back up. Thank you.